And we are live. Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Gentlemen of Crypto episode 339. Today is Thursday, February 7th, and I'm King.
And I'm Bitcoin Zay, and we are here to bridge the gap between cryptocurrency and the community Monday through Friday at 10ish.
At 10ish.
Oh, yeah.
And today we have a very good show for you today. We'll be discussing GoxRising, the movement which is trying to basically reboot the Mt. Gox exchange, or so it seems. Bitcoin trading down in Venezuela has now reached an all-time high amongst the economic crisis. BitTorrent, which we talked about earlier with their native BTT token, is partnering with coin payments. And Binance CEO CZ has his own thoughts about crypto growth and what entrepreneurs and different projects need to do.
Oh, yeah.
But first, I'm telling you, we gotta have like a button we can push this stuff. But first, give some shout out to folks that are joining the chat right now. What's going on? Shannon Allen, Tessa Hall, Madam Crypto Ola, Antonio, Crypto Ty, Erica Beach, everyone there on Facebook. Hello, hello.
How's it going?
Hello. All right, top story of the day. GoxRising movement aims to reboot Mt. Gox exchange and make a, quote, Gox coin for creditors. Wow. You can see it here. It looks like a defunct Mt. Gox exchange. I don't know what the green stuff is around it. People sifting through the rubble looking for what seems to be a crypto Mt. Gox coin, as they want to put it. This story is actually pretty interesting. Yesterday, while we were actually going live with Coinda, or have they renamed the group now?
Coinda, yeah.
Well, we're going live with Coinda. We're streaming live with Lamar over there. Shout out to Lamar. He actually got a text message in from one of the people who are helping to organize this Gox coin. So it's pretty interesting to get that breaking news live. But it looks like a new movement dubbed GoxRising is calling for a new accelerated rehab plan for the creditors of the now defunct Bitcoin exchange Mt. Gox, with the long-term goal of rebooting the trading platform. The development was reported in an interview with this author, controversial figure, and industry figure Brock Pierce by TechCrunch February 7th. And again, Brock was actually the person who texted Lamar yesterday while we were live. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. What's going on with this story? How's this going to work?
Oh, yeah. Well, if you remember Mt. Gox, they owe a lot of people a lot of money. Their basic, their trust that they have is over 1.2 billion in assets and about 630 million in cash. So this money is supposed to be distributed back out to investors who lost their Bitcoin due to a hack and also we think an inside job where it was taken. Over 850,000 Bitcoins was gone, and this was a time period where people were kind of scared. It was 2014, and people didn't really know. So, you know, this money coming back to them, they're starting to join together, and they're like, hey, we got the manpower, we can get some lawyers. Why don't we, you know, basically have this GoxRising? And in order to credit investors, we'll create a Gox coin. So based on how much Bitcoin or however much crypto you held, they would give you that in the Gox coin. So you will have a stake in the money that is distributed. So hopefully this works out. You know, it would be around 12,000 people right now are in the GoxRising movement. And, you know, we'll see more people come because Brock Pierce is pretty good at marketing. He's been out there. He was in one of my favorite movies, First Kid. So people know him, you know, from his Hollywood career. But, of course, if he's in the Bitcoin world, he has stuff like this going, he'll get some good promotion.
Right. And it's crazy. You know, you just talk about how many Bitcoins are lost and the price. I mean, this is 2014, people. 850,000 Bitcoins at the time were about $460 million. If you were to talk about in December of last year, or excuse me, 2017, I mean, what would that have been? A couple $1 billion almost?
Oh, easily.
And I mean, I even went to show for those who followed that Mt. Gox trial. We covered it a few times, or at least the ongoing trial right now, where, was it Mark Capellas? It was even to the fact that he was actually going to walk away from this as a billionaire still. I can't remember what the court proceedings said. I'm not sure if you remember. But all I remember was like one of the things, one of the consequences of everything was that he still got to keep a lot of the money.
Yeah, he did get to keep
which made him a billionaire. Yeah. And it was crazy. It was like...
Still walked away a billionaire.
People, too big to fail is real. But that was one of those things that was interesting. He claimed at the time, again, this was about last year when they were going through, maybe late 2017, middle 2018. He claimed that he would not keep any of the money and all that, or that's what he initially said. Right. To me, it sounded like a lot like Kyrie saying he's staying in Boston. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not happening. Yeah.
Right. But this is crazy. GoxRising claims that creditor recovery could be speedier if legal and technical barriers were to be overcome. Again, as Bitcoin Zay said, there's about $1.2 billion in assets currently holding that trust.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of assets.
That's a lot of assets. And shout out to Tessa Hall. Mt. Gox does not need to resurrect. You are correct. I don't think the exchange itself, but I do want the people who lost money on there to try and get it back if they can. But it is the Wild West. I mean, one of the biggest problems with crypto is you want people to not get scammed. But if you keep your money on exchange, we can't really help you out because this is not regulated, people. If you want to be a part of the game, you got to take the consequences. But at the same time, if they can get it back, then get it. If you got lawyers, they don't look like they're about to physically beat anybody up or tar and feather anybody, so they got to go the legal route,
right?
And get some people behind it. Mark Capellas is still safe. I don't know how, but if he is, this is one of the ways you can go about doing it. So.
Tony Nolly said Magic. For those who don't know what Mt. Gox stood for, and remember, this is the biggest and one of the only exchanges at the time in 2014.
Yeah.
So imagine being in cryptocurrency. This is one of your only options. But it stood for Magic the Gathering Online Exchange.
Yep.
It was initially set up to actually trade
game cards, man.
Yep. So
crazy.
I mean, that's kind of like Cryptopia. It wasn't started to trade game cards, but I remember when we first had some clients, like, I've heard of Cryptopia, but isn't that like off a cartoon or something? Or, I was like, I haven't seen the show or whatever you're talking about, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of stuff started. I mean, what was that we were talking about the other day where you can raise money? It basically turned into a funding site for people's hospital bills.
Right.
Yeah. I forget the name.
I can't think of it either.
GoFundMe.
GoFundMe.
Yeah, GoFundMe is basically just nonprofits who support hospital bills now. So it can, technology can start one way, go another route. And, if you got Gox, like Donald Muhammad said, unfortunately, you don't have that money right now, but you may have it through this GoxRising movement. So.
And Donald, we've emailed you back as well. Saw your email this morning.
Oh, yeah.
All right, next up, Bitcoin trading reaches all-time high in Venezuela amidst ongoing economic collapse. Wow. We knew something was going on in Venezuela, not only when they initially started making that petro coin. At this point, was it about a year and a half ago? Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, they're literally been operating a couple years. But also, of course, with the U.S. sanctions, and then them trying to get their gold back from the UK. The UK saying no, and then we get reports that
what gold?
Right. Then we get reports that Venezuela is going to give 20 tons of gold to whatever country next. I couldn't remember what country they're trying to broker a deal with.
Probably Russia.
I think it was Russia as well. But long story short, Venezuela has been going through a lot with their president Maduro, or dictator, whatever you want to call him, who's decided not to lead. But it looks like they've also reached a new all-time high amidst massive hyperinflation and ongoing presidential crisis. Tech news outlet Trust Notes reported on February 6th. Bitcoin weekly trading volume reached above 2,000 Bitcoin, about $6.8 million on peer-to-peer exchange local Bitcoins during the week ending February 2nd. This is crazy too because local Bitcoins was just about dead.
It was almost dead in the
water. And for those who don't know why local Bitcoins is there or what it was, local Bitcoins was a place to do some peer-to-peer trading where there would be no interference or no KYC AML for the most part. And then they switched that whole game plan over and it was like, we want your blood type, not just the KYC AML.
Man. And that's how they get you. You start off with no KYC, you get in there, you do a few things, and then they say, well, you can't transfer.
I was about to say, you want your money out here?
You want your money out? Yep. Give us your information. So it's sort of like taking you hostage. It looks like Abra might do the same thing with their no KYC. But yeah, local Bitcoins in Venezuela and Latin American countries are very big because that is a good indicator of the actual peer-to-peer transactions that are happening. Because, you can look at Coinbase, you can look at Binance, you can look at exchanges. You see a lot of wash trading, big name people. So it's not really indicative of how many people are using it. But on local Bitcoins, when you can't move but so much and people have to actually meet up, some people have to use, payment routes. You can see here they had 2,000 Bitcoin, almost 6.8 million in trading volumes, which, is a high for them. And in Latin American countries such as Colombia and Brazil, they make up 85% of the trading volume on the peer-to-peer exchange. So honestly, these transactions, long term will help them if they're able to transact Bitcoin with hyperinflation. However, most people still don't realize this is what Bitcoin was made for.
I was going to go there. You took it already for sure.
It was. Some people they may look at this story like, oh, okay, well they have to find a way. But
this is what's important.
This
is the important part of cryptocurrency.
In Brexit, Bitcoin jumped 20%.
Right.
We've seen in the Greek crisis, Bitcoin jumped 10%. We've seen now with Venezuela's hyperinflation, we've seen people risk their lives to mine Bitcoin in order to have some sort of currency. You can't stop it. And this is most people that are in control, this is their biggest nightmare because they're like, well, if we can't ban them, if we can't sanction them, they can basically do what they want. So this is good news.
And kind of, as you said, this was made for how it's important. For those who are in our first world countries, like which most of our viewers are, United States, we got Europe, we got Netherlands, a lot of European countries we've seen as well. Actually, some South America ones. Whenever we do the titles like this with Venezuela, we actually do get people from down there who watch. So shout out to all you all and thank you. But Imagine wherever you're at right now in your first world country, you decide to say, I'm not paying taxes for whatever reason. You don't agree with something the government did or whatever it is, but you decide, you know what? I'm not paying taxes right now because whatever's happening, this isn't right. Occupy Wall Street. Imagine if all those people decided, the banks are getting away with murder right now. We're not paying taxes. You would not literally be able to do that. You would see your government right before your eyes turn into dictators, as we saw on things like Occupy Wall Street when they were literally spraying college kids with mace and beating them up and all that. I mean, these are some college kids holding hands and sitting in circles, right? Yeah. So since we haven't had to experience that, you don't understand how valuable cryptocurrency is. But the moment you go through something with your own government or your own private corporations around you, says you can't use this fiat currency, you can't use these bank accounts, you can't use PayPal, you can't use this, that, or whatever. This is the only option you have to turn to unless you're going to bring out your gold trinkets, which I highly doubt.
And while we're talking about that, if you don't think it can happen in a first world country like the U.S., Wells Fargo has been down for about 2 hours this morning. Literally, the entire service has been down. You can't get online. Debit cards are not working. All around the country, there are actually people who are talking about suing Wells Fargo because of things of that nature.
No,
because
I'm not believing this.
If you talk about a industry that if something goes wrong, there's millions of people affected and the industry stops. Wells Fargo, some of the bigger banks, JP Morgan Chase, they're a part of that. The reason cryptocurrency is important is because when stuff like that happens, what if that happened for an extended period of time, let's say a week, and people literally couldn't pay bills and literally couldn't use their own money? Where do you think the price of cryptocurrency would fly to? I mean, it would literally, the demand would be ridiculous because people would say, well, I still got to pay off stuff. And then people who accept Bitcoin or that didn't accept Bitcoin will have to accept it because, well, we got to pay our bills too. Then the circulation of cryptocurrency starts. That's how you start getting the distrust of banks because just that from Wells Fargo, people are like, hey,
look how quick
we can't have this.
This price has dropped in the last 3 hours.
3 hours it dropped
3%, 2.44.
Quick. So that's what I'm saying.
Wow.
People lost trust in it. Like, no, we can't have this. So I can't not have money for an hour. Think about a day or a week. People will be like, I'm never using that bank again. So
and again, it's one of those things where it is almost and I get it. This is why the government sometimes, for the regulatory environment, they put this retail investor and credit investor tag on it because a lot of the retail investors, as bad as it is, they don't understand what it means to not have access to your money. Yeah. Now, if you're a person who has a few $1 million in the bank or a few $100,000, whatever it is, and let's say you take a Vegas trip, right? And you want to spend $50,000 on gambling, and it's 8 p.m. in Vegas. There is no way to get your $50,000 of money, people. Like, period. If it's 8 p.m. in Las Vegas, you want to go gamble $50,000, and for you, that might be a drop in the bucket. It might be a lot. Whatever the case is, it's your personal business, right? There is no way for you to go grab $50,000. The banks are all closed. The ATMs will not let you withdraw that if they even have that much in there. So you are unable to access. Let's say it's a Saturday night. That means you're not seeing your money until Monday. Exactly. Now you're in Vegas. You got yourself in some trouble. You need $50K. You can't get out. But seriously,
you're about to get the hammer, and you
right. Exactly. And again, we joke and these stories are far fetched, but bring it down to again a Saturday night emergency happens for whatever reason. You need $3,500. You need $4,000. Whatever the amount is, you want to have access to your funds. Maybe you're in a different country and your family's going through something in the middle of the night. Your bank card is not working. You need to have them access a bunch of money all at one time. Maybe they need to be able to access $15,000 and you're on another part of the world. There is no way to do that without cryptocurrency right now. Exactly. Which is also why whenever these banks and stuff talk about blockchain technology, they're basically saying we're going to have a blockchain, the same thing as Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, except we're going to own it, we're going to centralize it, and we're still going to do everything the same way. Yeah. The business will be done the same way. So,
and let's see. Yinka Manny actually said Visa went down last year. I was in Nigeria on holiday, couldn't pay for my hotel. Like, come on, man. I was wishing the owner would take Bitcoin. In the end, it was escorted to a cash machine. So that's one of those things where cash, cash is still king to an extent where you can still use it. However, if Visa goes down, MasterCard, if any of these payment services go down and that's your form of payment, if Bitcoin was an option, people would just use it. And that'll become more and more popular, I think, as we go forward into the future because I don't know why Wells Fargo went down, but
they probably didn't hack.
Banks don't go down.
We're experiencing technical difficulties. That sounds like we getting tagged right now.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and of course they're not going to tell you that. That's the worst part. Yeah. They're definitely not going to tell you. But I mean,
and if it does come, I ain't gonna come out for another 8 months. You'll see it and be like, oh yeah, the Wells Fargo down found as a hack, blah blah blah. Like after they fixed it. So,
but I mean, it's kind of like you said. I mean, people wake up today. Some people might have got paid today. Who knows? Like the situation. I mean, Wells Fargo is a huge bank, and it's to the point they're having issues every year now. Yeah. Whether they're stealing accounts or whatever, but people still use them. But it's literally to the point if you wake up today and you say, hey, you know, as soon as I wake up, I'm gonna go to the grocery store and buy groceries. I was tired from work last night, again, chance, buy groceries, make sure my kids eat and go to school. Oh, guess what? You can't do that this morning. Can't go get groceries this morning. So it's one of those things where it's terrible, but this is what happens when you rely on one monetary system, which we have done now.
And they are terrible.
Throughout our lives.
Their business model is just, I mean, you got to pay monthly. You got to pay them to hold your money.
Right.
Then on top of that, you can't take out a certain amount without notifying them, like P-Man Van said here. If you leave the country, you got to call them. Hey, I'm going blah, blah, blah. Can you let me use my money? Like, what?
That
the worst. Terrible.
The country thing is the worst part. People, you have to call your bank in order to use your money in different places. Yeah. Think about it. Really think about it.
Literally, you can try and buy something that's too high priced, and they'll just say, no, you don't have the money. You got to call in the store and say, oh, I'm trying to buy this right now. Can you let me do it? Come on, man.
P-Man Van said, are you kidding me? They won't let me take out more than $1,000 without notice. Listen, that Vegas story came from a real place, people. It wasn't $50,000, but I needed to bring out some money. It was one night I needed to bring out some money, and nothing was working. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I had to make like all types of calls, but seriously, hey, when it's time and you want your paper, you want your money.
Man, that's
crazy.
That's crazy.
All right, next up, BitTorrent partners with coin payments to launch support for native BTT token. Again, we have talked about BitTorrent the last few days, how Justin Sun and his amazing marketing has not only bought him BitTorrent, but allowed him to put a native BTT token on it and coin payments, which we also use as well. Looks like they're partnering with him. How's this going to work out?
Oh, yeah. Well, he's good. I'll give it to him. Justin Sun is good. But one of the biggest crypto payment gateways, Coin Payments, is now accepting Tron alongside Bitcoin and Binance. You know, the BTT support that they have is basically where you can use their BTT for uTorrent prescriptions or subscriptions, and file conversion, HD quality streaming, and malware protection. So that is what it is supposed to be used for. And if you have coin payments on your store, people that have these tokens can pay you in their BitTorrent token. So basically what it means is you have another way to pay using coin payments. There are a lot of crypto payment providers now, BTC Pay Server, BitPay. I mean, it's a bunch out now, but starting out early, it was only one. It was BitPay, and now that we've expanded, now you have different companies have different ways they want to go. Coin payments. I think they've also added another coin, Ethereum Classic, I believe, not too long ago. So
and they're pretty good.
Yeah, I would say coin payments
they're good for those
efficient.
Right, for those interested in using some type of POS system.
You can send out invoices in crypto, all of that. So
I mean, BitPay. We talked about BitPay as well. But for those new, BitPay is actually good as well. It's just that now their business plan isn't really for little guys and girls in the community. It is for the big men and women who hold all the millions of dollars at their purse strings. So
and the good thing is, if you're a business who wants to transact in crypto, but you want some of it to be in crypto or some of it to be in fiat or all of it in fiat, you can do that. You can adjust the percentages. So you can basically say, hey, I want 90% of it to be in fiat, but I'll keep 10% in crypto just for later. That's possible with coin payments. So good to see from them. And if you want BTT, now you can accept it.
There we go. P-Man Van said, I heard people talking about Bitcoin on my local radio this morning. It was hilarious. They were talking about money laundering and things like you can't use it to buy a coffee. What? You know what? It's funny. Bitcoin, Zay and I were talking today, and already in the last probably 48 hours, 3 regular people have talked to me about some CEO that has died and left with almost $200 million in crypto. Again,
the bad news gets out.
We said it too. That was like the top story on like Fox News, scene, like some of the major mainstream, if you will, traditional news outlets were reporting it, and that's all people were grasping. So now we have normal people asking us about, out of all things, Quadriga CX. Out of everything that's happened last year and a half of Bitcoin, there's people walking up to us asking us about Quadriga CX.
Yeah, and it was a tweet. It was a tweet from a guy. He actually had a DM from somebody that said, "I heard the owner of Bitcoin died and lost his passwords."
Hilarious.
That's literally the people we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with right now. People think the owner of Bitcoin died and lost the password, so nobody can use it. But no, people, they stop listening to
the good thing is they're paying attention now and they're looking for the answers, and hopefully they can come to the right places and see it. Torrance J Playlist said Jack Ma taught that man right, talking about Justin Sun. I know. For those who don't know, Justin Sun is the protege of Jack Ma, who started Alibaba out in China, of course, which is probably one of the world's wealthiest companies over Amazon as well, even though the United States doesn't really report on it because they say that He doesn't technically own his own money; the government does, which is kind of true. But you still can't, marginalize his inventions as well, his company. So,
oh yeah, definitely,
it's pretty crazy. Antonio said, "Yep, for real, people really don't know how to do research. Listen, I know
Google.
No one wants to Google it. Like, that's how easy it is, but no one wants to do it. But it's all good."
Right.
Crypto and Culture said, "What's up, gentlemen? Thanks for the Wells Fargo news. Was at my corporate slavery." Exactly.
So, yeah, it's funny people don't know about it because Wells Fargo is going to definitely try and keep that out the news.
Right.
If you didn't already see it personally, if you have a Wells Fargo, they'll try and keep that out the news. Trust me.
So it looks like this summer the BTT powered blockchain application BitTorrent Speed, actually this same BitTorrent article we're discussing, will reportedly be rolled out as part of BitTorrent's window-based uTorrent Classic client. According to the BitTorrent site, the application will allow users to exchange BTT for seeding and bandwidth to support faster download time. See, all right, now this is making sense, people. If you remember when we talked about this BitTorrent story, was it earlier this week or last week?
Earlier this week.
Okay, it was earlier this week, and Justin Sum basically was saying that with this token BTT, it would help speed up or slow down the times and downloading. And we said from a technical point of view, we said that doesn't make any sense because the way you actually increase or decrease download times and transactions is from you actually providing things to download, which is called seeding itself. And now it looks like they're going back in this story. We're saying, as they say here, the BTT token will be used to exchange for seeding and bandwidth. So that makes a little bit more sense. The first time, again, when it was explained, we were like, that doesn't even sound right. They must have heard our show and came back and put out this article.
Of course.
But this is where it helps for those who are interested in kind of learning the behind-the-scenes stuff as far as some of the technical stuff. This is why it's important, because you can read some of these articles, like the first one we read Monday or Tuesday, and we were just like, this doesn't make any sense. How is this possible? And now literally, 2 or 3 days later, they're coming out, well, this is actually how it's going to work.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, so what you said the first time wasn't true.
Yeah, well.
Right.
They got to sell them tokens, man.
Right, exactly.
What was it, $7 million they raised? They got to sell those tokens, brother.
But shout out. I mean, hopefully this works out and it's something we can actually use, and it's something that is decentralized. They're still touting it as a decentralized peer-to-peer network, but I don't understand how somebody could buy it if it was truly decentralized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's ICO.
Right, exactly.
Whatever.
All right, Binance CEO CZ. Crypto growth needs entrepreneurs and projects, not ETFs. Now, whenever CZ talks, people listen because this is a man who has turned his exchange Binance into a unicorn company in less than 2 years. For those who don't know what that means in less than 2 years, he started a company and turned it into a multi-billion-dollar company, hence being the unicorn. But what is CZ saying these days?
Oh, yeah. So we've discussed on our own show, we don't care about ETFs that much. We discuss it as news simply because the ETFs will bring in institutional money. It'll change the landscape of crypto forever. However, Bitcoin got to 20,000 without it, and we are of the opinion that crypto people need to build more, and CZ seems to share our opinion by suggesting, I think for our industry to grow, we need more entrepreneurs to build real projects, which is what we've been saying all along. If you build real businesses, if you have things like Blockstream with satellites, if you have a guy who created the mesh networks out in Nevada, if you have people creating great wallets and different ways to invest, these are things that actually push it forward. We have the lightning torch going on right now. A lot of good stuff going on.
It is a lot of good stuff going on.
So CZ, who's at the center of the crypto market, he can literally see the fact that if you build a business like he did with Binance.
The right way.
Because
he did it the right way.
Like I said, Binance onboarded a lot of people into altcoins who didn't want Poloniex, who were mad at Bittrex,
during scaling issues,
all of that stuff. So they brought it, and then they had higher limits than other companies. So they built a good product.
Their native token was an amazing idea. It worked brilliantly.
Binance Coin, exactly. Being able to invest in an exchange, so to say, 50% off fees. They had a good business. So if you have other businesses that have something similar, that's how you push it forward. And honestly, most of the people who have bad stuff to say about the industry, they don't see the good stuff that's happening. They get the Quadriga CX.
They don't. I was about to say they don't know who CZ is, which is the worst part.
They get the JP Morgan said this, and somebody else said the price would do this. Because when we talk to regular people, like we said, that aren't really in the industry, these are the questions we get, and we know exactly where it's coming from. We read every news site. We see it's coming from Bloomberg. See it came from Forbes. Then you look at the writers, and you see how much crypto experience. They just started writing about it a year ago.
Exactly, if that.
They have no clue what they're talking about. So, we spend a lot of time trying to explain it away, but CZ, being so popular, being a billionaire, is definitely a good voice to listen to when he states, look, people are building. Who cares about an ETF, man? You can have it, but we don't need it. So,
and it's pretty interesting. Again, You got this guy on, and I get it. You got to cover the hot news and promote your news sites, which is why they probably asked him this question. But you literally have a guy who's made a few $1 billion in a couple years on, and they asked him about Quadriga CX. Yeah. Of course, we get it. It's the hottest topic. But when asked to comment on the recent controversy surrounding cryptocurrency exchange Quadriga CX, Zhao said that while he does not want to comment on other exchanges, there's something fishy going on. Again, same thing that we said with the death of this. But this goes to show how big this is. I mean, everyone wants to talk about Quadriga CX right now. $190 million missing. Honestly, if you've been in the community long enough, you know this is business as usual. It's tough to say that, but
10th time we've heard about
right. And props to CZ. I mean, he's like, I don't even want to comment on the exchange. I know what we're doing over here. Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a champion mindset.
Stop pocket watching.
Right. Ooh, there we go.
We got
he like, look, I don't know what's going on, what people doing. We got our own thing, but something's weird. If you know personal opinion, he's like, something is weird, and that's what we said. We agree as well. But I mean, this is really good to have him on. And again, they're taking over the marketplace in a good way. As of now, even with some of their power moves, I haven't seen or heard anyone in the community complain about what they're doing. Versus the Coinbases and the Geminis, every time they make a move, everybody's like, "What are you doing? Yeah. Why are you trying to destroy the community?" Whereas every time CZ makes a move, people are like, all right, this guy is trying to help the community grow and flourish.
Uganda, man, got fiat crypto. I mean, he got higher limits. He got coins added that most exchanges wouldn't touch. He's doing his thing. So
right, way to go, CZ.
Shout out to CZ.
Don't let us down, Blue.
And for Torrance J playlist, this sounds like Hoodie's CZ right here when he was talking about
hilarious.
We don't need ETFs. He was like, man, we don't need that.
Right. Let's see, a couple of comments here. Zach Hart said, quick question for you guys. Should we actually be paying attention to paying taxes on crypto, or can we just sweep those under the rug? I know no one wants to sacrifice future gains because of it. Well, officially, I'm definitely going to say do whatever the law wants you to do. But, I mean, I don't know how the taxes will work, so you should consult with a professional as well. But for my personal opinion, after all because we're paying taxes on last year, right? Like, who made money in crypto last year? Like,
crypto.
There was a few people, don't get me wrong, who did all right to maintain and stay above the water. But it wasn't like, I don't think it was a lot of tax money type of crypto gains made. So
yeah, I talked to a tax professional yesterday. He said that he's seen an increase in crypto people paying taxes, but he said it went from 2 people to about 12.
There it is.
So that'll give you an indication of, and he's in a major city in America, so.
Yeah,
that gives you an indication because crypto to crypto, it's not taxable event.
And then of course crypto isn't money. And then also I don't know. You have to ask the CFTC, SEC, NFA. Who else is in there? Who else got their hand in the cookie jar? IRS, FINRA. So that's 5
IMF, World Bank,
8 different agencies, like 7 or 8 different agencies. We don't know what's going on.
Warren Buffett.
All I do know is that the only reason why the crypto taxes subject was brought up to begin with is because it went up so much so fast in 2017, and then as you saw throughout last year. The talk to taxes started to die off. Even till this year, you're not even seeing it. This time last year, all you saw in every major news article was regulatory things and taxes. That was all that was going on from January through March. It was taxes and regulatory issues. This year, I don't think I've seen the tax article yet. On the main on the mainstream crypto news.
They don't want to bring it up.
But you know what? You got to do what's best for you. Make sure you follow the law. Let's say that officially. But I mean, I don't know where people are getting crypto tax money from.
Yeah, and we don't know if you're in the U.S. or overseas. Who knows? Right.
Shannon Allen said, I have a virtual red packet for Chinese New Year for everyone that wins the Gentleman's a Crypto contest today. We double the prize. For wherever your challenge you get. So Shannon Allen, he's the rep from Litecoin, and he says, looks like they're going to double that today. So there we go.
And Litecoin is on coin payments, so that'll be coming soon for payments for goods that we have. So absolutely.
All right. Let's see. Shannon Allen also said, for anyone who has a business online and take crypto via coin payments, if you accept Litecoin, let him know. That's Shannon Allen. You can find him on our YouTube. Extra red packets for those people.
Oh yeah.
All right. And then let's see. Yep, of course. P-Man Vance said the rats come out the woodwork when there's money to be made, right?
Every time.
Yep. $4 billion missing. I'm not sure about that one, Kevin. All right, other than that, speaking of the Litecoin, what are we doing today for the free Litecoin?
Oh, yeah. So for our free Litecoin, in response to CZ talking about ETFs, do you agree? Do you think we don't need ETFs, or do you want to have ETFs in order to bring more money in? Do you think the crypto community can survive without it? Let us know what you think. Put your answer and your Litecoin address. Like we said, Shannon Allen has some red packets for you for the winners, which we'll give out tomorrow. So put that answer, put that Litecoin address, and we got you.
As always, thank you for watching. Make sure you smash that like and share if you enjoyed this video so others can see it as well. And we will see you all tomorrow. Happy Thursday.
Have a good one.
Cheers.